There's a kind of healing that doesn't come from effort. It doesn't come from grinding harder. It doesn't live in your to-do list, your supplements, or your schedule. It lives in the quiet, in the pause, in the space between one breath and the next. We live in a world obsessed with acceleration, faster results, more productivity, do more, be more, achieve more, heal more. But healing doesn't move at the speed of your ambition. It moves at the speed of presence. And presence requires slowness. When your nervous system is rushing, your body is bracing, and a bracing body cannot heal. Tense shoulders, shallow breath, a heart that never fully settles, a mind that doesn't know how to stop thinking about what's next. We've normalized a state of low-grade emergency. Wake up to an alarm, scroll before we stretch, caffeine instead of breath, deadlines instead of daylight. And by the end of the day, we're surprised that our body aches, our mind races, and we can't sleep. But the truth is, the body doesn't trust a life that moves too fast, and neither does your soul. Slow living is not laziness. It's remembering that rest is not a reward. It's remembering that breath is not optional. It's a sacred rhythm we keep abandoning. Then wonder why we feel so lost. To live slow is to return to the body, to listen again, to trust again, to realize that your healing does not respond to how much you push. It responds to how deeply you surrender. You don't need more willpower. You need less resistance. You need safety, because a dysregulated body doesn't care about your goals. It only cares about one thing: survival. And in survival mode, everything becomes short-term. Short breaths, short tempers, short sleep, shortcuts that keep us stuck. But when we slow down, genuinely, intentionally, rhythmically, the body stops surviving and starts remembering. It remembers how to repair, how to digest, how to regulate, restore, and renew. Think of the last time you felt fully safe, fully at ease. Maybe it was sitting in the sun, or hearing rain fall on a quiet afternoon, or laughing with someone you love. Your breath softened, your heart rate slowed, your body opened. That is the state where healing lives. Not in the hustle, not in the pressure, but in the presence. Let's talk about breath. It's the first medicine, the one you're always carrying, yet rarely using fully. Most people are breathing just enough to survive, not enough to heal, not enough to shift the nervous system from fight or flight into rest and repair. But when you slow the breath intentionally, consciously, you signal to your body, I'm not in danger. And that one message changes everything, because healing requires trust, and trust begins with the breath. Slow inhale, slower exhale. Nervous system softens, cortisol lowers, heart rate steadies, digestive system activates, mind begins to quiet. This is not theory, it's biology. The breath is the only system in the body that is both automatic and under your control. It's the gateway to conscious regulation, to shifting from urgency to calm, from chaos to coherence. Breathe like you matter, because you do. When you live slow, you breathe deeper. When you breathe deeper, your body speaks more clearly. You begin to notice what it's been trying to say. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I'm holding on to something that's not mine. That's when healing begins. And then there's rest, not just sleep, real rest. The kind where you're not checking your phone, not multitasking your piece, not numbing with screens while calling it downtime. I mean restorative stillness, the silence that rewires. You're not broken for needing rest. You're not weak for being tired. You're living in a system that exhausts you on purpose and calls that success. But your biology is older than this culture. It remembers. It remembers cycles, seasons, the rhythm of work and recovery, exertion and exhale. You were never meant to be on all the time. Even nature rests. The trees in winter, the tide between surges, the moon between phases. You are nature. You too need seasons of stillness. So if your body is asking for slowness, it's not malfunctioning. It's finally telling the truth. Honor that. Because the pace of your life becomes the tone of your health, and your body is listening to everything you believe about time. And let's talk about energy, real energy, not the synthetic jittery kind from 3 cups of coffee. I'm talking about the grounded, lasting, sovereign kind. Energy doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing what's aligned, from living in rhythm with your own nature. You don't need motivation. You need rhythm. You don't need hacks. You need boundaries. Because energy is not just a physical resource, it's emotional, mental, spiritual. And every time you say yes when you mean no, you spend energy. Every time you abandon yourself to keep the peace, you spend energy. Every time you override your body's cues to perform, to please, to push, you spend energy. Eventually, the bill comes due in burnout, in inflammation, in fatigue that no nap can fix. To live slow is to live wisely, to recognize that energy is not infinite and your time is not disposable. Protecting your energy is not selfish, it's essential. Because when your energy is whole, your presence becomes medicine. There's something you need to understand about stress. It was never meant to be permanent. Acute stress is natural, a surge of adrenaline when you need to act, short, necessary, and gone when the threat is over. But chronic stress, the kind that lingers, loops, and leaks into every cell, that's the slow poison we've normalized. The stress of never feeling caught up, of waking up tired, of being on all day, but going to bed with a racing mind. The quiet panic of always being behind. Even when nothing is chasing you. This is not just mental, it's physical. Stress lives in the tissues, in the gut, in the fascia, in the immune system. Your body remembers every moment you ignored its need to pause. It keeps score of every "I'm fine" that buried the truth. It stores the pressure until one day it shows up as burnout, as inflammation, as illness, as a body that finally says, "No more." But there's another path, a slower one, a wiser one, where healing becomes a rhythm, not a rescue mission. It starts with awareness. Where are you leaking energy? Where are you rushing through life and calling it normal? Who taught you that stillness was laziness? Who convinced you that your worth is measured in output? Let that go. All of it. Because the real root of longevity isn't in doing more. It's in living better, wiser, deeper. Longevity is not about living forever. It's about living fully, without being at war with your own body, without trading your peace for productivity, without spending decades disconnected, only to look back and wonder where the life went. Slow living isn't about doing nothing. It's about doing the right things, at the right pace, with the right presence. Let's talk about movement, not just exercise. Movement, the way your body wants to stretch when it wakes, the way walking outside recalibrates your nervous system, the way dancing, swaying, or simply standing tall reclaims your dignity. Movement is not punishment for what you ate. It's not about numbers, metrics, or mirrors. It's about energy in motion. Because when energy stagnates, so does healing. Your lymph system, your digestion, your joints. They all depend on movement, but not frantic movement. Rhythmic, intentional, rooted in the breath. Walk without headphones, stretch without a timer. Breathe while you move. Feel what your body is actually asking for, not what a screen tells you it should want. Because healing isn't something you force, it's something you allow. And movement can become a prayer, a practice, a homecoming. Now, let's talk about nourishment, not just food, nourishment, the kind that supports your cells and your soul. Eat slowly, chew fully, let your body receive what you give it. We've been conditioned to fear food, to label, to restrict, to calculate. But your body isn't a spreadsheet. It's an ecosystem, and food is more than fuel. It's information. It tells your body whether you are safe, whether it's time to grow, repair, or protect. Whole foods, real ingredients, balanced rhythms of eating and resting. It's not about perfection, it's about presence. And presence changes digestion. It changes metabolism. It changes your relationship with hunger, with cravings, with control.